So in this presentation, we're going to cover what is 5G, what's it being used for and who has it, how 5G has been damaging us versus the other EMFs that we're already exposed to. Number 3, the misconceptions about 5G, my favorite part. And then number 4, can we protect ourselves, which is the important part, I think. So before I get going, I have to do this. Everybody knows, like, nothing in this presentation is meant to treat, cure, prevent any disease. Our advice is for educational purposes and learning purposes only. And anybody in holistic world knows why I have to say this disclaimer, so here we go. First, what is 5G that we keep hearing about? 5G is just another EMF, which all EMFs are radiation. And by the way, all of this listed below is radiation. So when you're at 60 waves per second or hertz, that's a very low frequency. That's what electricity in the United States is geared towards. Power lines and so forth, and all the electricity in your house. The dirty electricity is 100 to 100,000 waves per second. It's just a term that somebody coined that called it dirty electricity in that range. If you jump way up to 0.3 gigahertz to 300, in other words, 300 million waves a second to 300 billion, that's what we call microwaves. Okay, that's where pretty much all of the audio and video technology that you're getting on all your cool gadgets is in that range. And 5G is just right in that range too. And then if you keep going up, you'll hit X-rays and gamma rays, the stuff that we all know, and nuclear radiation, which is going to be 100,000 times what microwaves are. So just to give you a little education lesson, 5G is just one of them in there. So 5G, what devices are going to be using 5G? Well, if you look at my cursor, hopefully you can see it. The cell phone, your computer, your Wi-Fi printer, your Wi-Fi itself, these are all things that are going to be using 5G, and eventually they plan on working it into your appliances and all sorts of other wild and cool stuff. And I say cool because technologically this is bringing some really neat stuff. What it's not going to be in is the power lines. Radar is what it is. The microwave oven is what it is, and your electricity. Now, what do 5G towers look like? So what's bringing it to all of our neighborhoods? It's towers just like this. This is a special on CBS, about a 10-minute clip talking about the 5G, and it did say it's bringing faster speeds, but it also said these towers need to be closer to homes, and there's a lot of people who are concerned about this. These are pretty hidden. You know, you can barely tell. I guess they painted this one brown to blend in with the brown pole so people can't really tell. This is some other 5G cell towers. So they just blend them right in. You barely even notice. Once you see them, and I got one 15 yards from the place I just moved from, once you see one, then you see them all over the place. In San Diego, where I just moved from, boy, they're maybe 25% of all of San Diego already has these up, and they're all over. And they're eventually supposed to be everywhere. Every block's going to have multiple on it because these waves don't travel very far. So they have to be right up in your grill. I think these are going to be every 800 feet, these towers, because the waves tend to be clear. The radiation tends to be clearly readable by devices only for about 1,000 yards. I'm sorry, 1,000 feet. So they have to be within 800 feet of each other just to get everybody a clear signal. And that's one of the concerns, because everybody is going to live within a house or a few houses of one of these, according to what's planned. Now, who and what uses the 5G? I'm going to tell you that Qualcomm and Huawei, if I'm saying that right, is a Chinese company. They make the chips that go in the phones that are going to be 5G. And some people already have them. That's where it's coming from. And who has the 5G phones now? Almost nobody. Maybe nobody on this call, because almost all the Huawei phones now have them. They're ahead of the curve. China is trying to be the leader in 5G. They have the worst amount of radiation. They've had it before 5G. But interesting enough, Huawei is, you probably don't have one of these because it's probably about to be banned from the United States. And that's a story we'll get to in a second. there's only a few brand new models, like the Samsung S10, the LG, Sony, Motorola you can read, but no Apple, and Apple doesn't even make them yet. And the only reason you would have a 5G phone is if you bought a phone knowing it's 5G, because it's called 5G all over its advertising. You didn't buy one and accidentally it's 5G, trust me. So anybody who has one probably already knows it. Now, are these towers that are going up all over San Diego and other cities, are they even turned on? Are they working yet? I have no idea. I keep getting different answers from all sorts of people, and I've talked with actual people who install the towers. In San Diego by me, I talked to a few people who installed 5G cell towers by Sprint, and they gave me the impression that these were working and they were on. And although cell phones aren't equipped to really pick up the signals yet, so they're not really advertising it and they're not going that way. They gave me the impression they were on. I hear other people who are saying, no, they're not turned on yet. Well, I know if they're about to unleash a gigantic, super expensive, well-planned, well-funded technology, I can assure you they're not going to do it last minute and watch all the things break and work out the kinks later. I'm pretty sure they're at least testing them now, and if they're smart, they're testing them a lot, which to me means they're probably on, but I don't have definitive answers for you. I don't know, who knows, because if the guys who install it are wrong, then we're in trouble. Now, I will say one more thing about the phones. So some people's phones are saying 5G up in the corner of the phone. Instead of the 4G, they go to certain places and it switches to 5G. Most of the time, this is basically false advertising, because your phone's not meant to pick up 5G. It just recognizes if there's a tower that enables the 5G to be working. It's like an advertisement saying, hey, there's 5G. It's like, hey, we're ahead of, like, use our service because we're, bringing you the latest in technology. But your phone's not using it, FYI. You're just around it, most likely. So that's just a little side note, because some of our reps actually have had the 5G sign up in the right-hand corner, and now I know it's, unless they have a phone that converts it, there's no 5G going on that phone. Now, what is 5G used for? Well, the main reason is because you get high-speed information transfer. So Wi-Fi right now is either at 2.5 or 5.0 gigahertz. And that's going to say, usually when you get to sign up on your router, it says 2.5 or 5.0. That's 5 billion ones and zeros per second of information that can be converted to audio or video or whatever, that you can transfer to have a bunch of fun information, to watch videos, to listen to music, to do whatever, live streaming kind of stuff. So the 5G is opening up, I believe it's between 23, or let's say around 20 to up to around 100 billion waves per second, or 100 billion gigahertz. What that means is you'll get speeds that are between 4 to 20 times faster than the old internet. In other words, everybody in the house can live stream videos and do all this fun stuff, and it never has a hiccup. But what it means even more, in my opinion, and you're going to hear me talk a positive way about this stuff, it's bringing amazing new technologies that can help the human race if we use it properly. Like, there's really people working on surgeons being able to operate remotely by grabbing in a 3D space, like things with their hand and moving around, because it's such a lot of information that can transfer that you kind of need that to effectively and efficiently be able to do that. I don't want a surgeon working on me when, like, the internet hiccups, right? Oops, it's frozen. Sorry, I'm in the middle of a surgery. So there's neat things I've watched videos about that will be coming. But the last one, there's an awful lot of people concerned about it. Either A, like it's coming out for a health reason to try to hurt humanity. I personally, that's a whole different debate, but I personally think it's really just being pushed by people who want bigger and better technology. But I will tell you that Huawei, the government, like our highest government officials, I believe our VP right now, our vice president, is talking about banning Huawei from the United States, because when you have 5G in your cell phone, it gives them the ability to spy on us much easier. And if that's the case, if China can spy on us through the 5G phone, then guess what? I guess other people / the United States or anybody can spy on us through their phones when we get them too. So just a little tidbit to think about. If we're so worried about that, yet we're trying to bring it to everybody in the United States really fast, that's just put a question mark there for me anyway. Now, let's get into the really meat and potatoes here. 5G versus other EMFs that we're exposed to today, like Wi-Fi, cell phones, and some of the other quote-unquote worst EMFs we have. Now, what the heck is the frequency of an EMF, of a 5G EMF? This video is pretty cool because it'll give you an idea. So 5G is a higher frequency, and that's the reason why so many people are freaking out. They're saying, oh, it's too high a frequency for humans, we can't go that high. But I'm just going to show you the reality of it. Non-ionizing radiation is way down here by the microwaves. And when we increase it 4 to 20 times of current Wi-Fi, it sounds like a lot to us, but when you look at the big range here, it's nothing. You know, electricity waves can be harmful to us, and that's 60 waves a second, which is way to the left of this chart. When you move within microwave range of current Wi-Fi or a phone call up to 5G, you're really barely even, like this phone wouldn't even, you wouldn't notice it move if you want to compare it to the full spectrum. And why does this spectrum matter? Well, guess what's right in the middle? Way higher frequency than microwaves, light. Guess what you got in your house? Light bulbs. Guess what you got when you walk outside? The sunshine, which uses infrared, visible light, and ultraviolet, all of them. So what a lot of people don't know is the sun uses about the same radiation level as a cell phone, which is a lot. When you just walk out in the sun, it's the same level of radiation with a much higher frequency. Yet it's not causing us concern because it shouldn't. Because amplitude and frequency, and this is really important, amplitude and frequency of EMFs does not determine if it's going to harm you or not in the way that we have found out through the voltage-gated calcium channel how our cells are actually being damaged. Okay, so everybody, this is very interesting. So everybody in the EMF world, the so-called experts, not everybody, but a lot of people seem to focus on just amplitude and frequency. When you use an EMF meter, it measures how much radiation there is, the amplitude, and at a certain frequency. So both of those don't cause problems. If they did, again, the lights in your house would be affecting you and the sunshine would be affecting you more than your Wi-Fi router would be. But that's not the case, trust me. Now, inside lights can be bad, but your router's much worse at a lower frequency, even if at a lower intensity. So again, these two things don't really add up to damage to DNA and to the human problems, yet everybody focuses on it. It drives me a little crazy. Now, what does harm us from EMFs, strong theory with lots of backup here, is the subatomic chaos, okay? That's what harms us. Now, I'm not going to get into this much, but what is subatomic chaos? Really briefly, it's the shaking and the vibrating that EMFs can cause when they're certain kind of radiation, okay? Certain kinds at high frequencies don't cause this, certain do. In a microwave oven, it vibrates the molecules so much because the walls keep most of the photons bouncing around in there. It vibrates them, the subatomic molecules, so much that they smash into each other, and that creates friction and it heats your food pretty quick. Okay, that's the shaking and the vibrating. That's the subatomic chaos. That's the part that some EMFs cause and some don't, almost regardless of the frequency. Anything on that chart, pretty much, going back, anything on this whole chart in the non-ionizing range could be, according to science and scientists, harmless. So why do we only focus on this frequency raising? I don't know, guys. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, but that's all people do. Now, a little short FYI, when you do an X-ray or gamma ray or higher, this can do some direct damage to your cells and DNA. So this is always bad. This is never okay. But anything below here cannot do the voltage-gated calcium channel reaction, again, according to scientists, so it's not something that necessarily you have to worry about. Unless it's, and that's going to lead us to our next slide, what causes the subatomic chaos? Well, these, I'm not going to get into a science lesson, but if it's polarizing radiation, the shape of the wave, because they don't all look like these smooth little waves in the last picture. The inconsistency, if it's pulsing like Wi-Fi does and 5G will do. The medium it travels through and a bunch of other factors cause this, okay? So, little short end of this lesson, the amplitude and the frequency. So 5G is basically around the same amplitude, but it's at a higher frequency, and that's really the icing on the cake. So the cake itself is the subatomic chaos. If you don't have that, there is no icing. There's nothing to worry about. You don't care really what the amplitude or frequency is anymore. Anything in the microwave range, potentially, you don't have to worry about it. But when there is subatomic chaos, the type of subatomic chaos, then the frequency can make it a little bit worse, just a little bit, okay? So 5G gives the cake, so to speak, a little more icing, making it a little worse, the same exact way that other man-made EMFs can. The mystery about 5G is, there's a lot of mystery and question marks. Science is really simple. It's just more, it's a little bit higher frequency of the exact same problem that we've had for a long time. So why is this so important? Why am I spending like so much time talking about this particular aspect? Because if we can remediate EMFs currently, if you believe you've got a system that works now on today's problem at 4G, then we can remediate 5G in the same way, because it's just a little more of the exact same thing. You don't have to freak out like some, you know, the dinosaurs died and now we got humans. I mean, it's just another dinosaur, so to speak. It's just another problem added to the mix. We're not going to go into detail, but in other webinars, we will show exactly how the EMFs cause subatomic chaos and how the VGCCs are reacted and how that kind of affects our cells and can cause symptoms and the rest of it. But let me just tell you, there's a lot of misconceptions and mistruths about 5G. So I'm going to cover 3, I believe. So misconception number 1, the 5G frequency is too high for humans to be safe. Well, I already talked about that. Light is a higher frequency, way, 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 way higher, many, 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 many times higher than 5G. But we're not as concerned about light because, again, that the frequency itself is it's a really minor part of the equation. And then just FYI, the 5G frequency is about up to, it's like 4 to 20 times higher than 4G, but it's still 300,000 times less than an X-ray, which is ionizing radiation. So we're still way down in the non-ionizing radiation range. So not a big difference compared to today's radiation. Now, 5G radiation doesn't travel as far as 4G. That's said all the time. Videos say that. The CBS News special said that. I think they're putting that out to try to make people at ease so they don't think like a giant cell tower like that has a phone call on it can be that close to you and everybody's okay. But what I'm going to tell you, that's very misleading, because although when it oscillates many more times a second, the photon as it's traveling, it's more likely for the photon to smash into another particle on its travels. And when it does, it may be absorbed and that photon in its original form has now disappeared. But we know law of physics says energy doesn't disappear, it just changes forms. And unfortunately, it changes forms when it smashes into stuff. It changes into, let's just call it subatomic chaos, into a form that actually does potentially cause us problems according to the scientists. So although the original frequency doesn't travel as far, the energy may travel very far. So even though the meter may read it low, like, oh, it's not that bad, trust me, what the meter's not picking up on is where the problem comes from, and that may be horrible, even though you're a little bit further from these. So this is an extremely misleading thing. I wish people would like throw away EMF meters and pick up energy eyes. Energy eyes is muscle testing, and muscle testing will show you much more information about if something's harming you like EMFs than the meters, because we already talked about meters measuring amplitude and frequency, which it measures the sunshine and your cell phone basically the exact same way. They're not the same, so it's extremely misleading when you think about the meters. Anyway, so number 3, 5G could threaten the human race. That's what the movies are talking about. That's what everybody's talking about. The reason I believe this is a misconception is because I believe we are already threatening the human race. I believe the scientists and the science and the studies are already saying we're in deep, deep trouble today as is if we don't change anything. Now, if I didn't believe there was a solution, I wouldn't live where I live. I would be freaking out. I'm not freaking out because I believe you can live with the radiation and not have problems. I do. But if you don't do anything and you live willy-nilly with today's technology, I think you're crazy. Because, for example, the European Union, one of the 10,000 studies, the European Union and 11 institutions across Europe spent $3 million to do studies comparing the DNA damage of a cell phone versus the DNA damage of an X-ray, a chest X-ray, okay? DNA damage of a cell phone versus DNA damage of a chest X-ray. And this is what they found, okay? 11 institutions, many scientists across Europe, this is what they found. Do we need a bigger reason to say that there's a crisis? We're already in a crisis. If you're not doing anything about this, I think you're crazy. This is invisible. You can't see it. Many people can't feel it. Many people don't have symptoms, or they do, but they don't attribute it to EMFs. They attribute it to getting old or not getting enough sleep or being stressed out at work or whatever. But this is insane. This is why 40 countries across the world, most of Europe, has banned Wi-Fi in elementary schools, has done all kinds of cutting back and regulating on EMFs. But what are we doing here? More, you know, without consequence, without teaching anybody everything. So I already believe we're in a crisis. Again, don't freak out because I really believe there's solutions that work. So again, there's over 10,000 studies. The Bio Initiative has over 4,000 studies. Over 3,000 of them are considered conclusive, meaning there's almost no doubt scientifically that these EMFs have not been causing the biological effects in these studies. That's a lot of proof. That's so much proof, guys. We already are in a crisis. And the Bio Initiative, by the way, they don't sell anything. They're non-biased. If you haven't been there already, you should go and check out the 2012 report of 1,800 studies. They summarize it, and you can't read for long without going, okay, I get it. Now, finishing up, can we protect ourselves from 5G? Okay, that's, of course, I think you can. Option 1, you don't believe EMFs are harmful today, so you don't think 5G is either, and you don't have to do anything. I don't live in that camp. I believe option 2, I believe EMFs are harmful now, so I will continue the same remediation methods, just a little bit more of them, so that I can sleep well at night and feel like everything's good. Now, we don't know what we don't know, but what we do know, all the evidence that I've seen suggests that this problem can be fixed. So I'm not out to stop 5G cell towers. I'm not out to stop the cell phone companies. I'm not trying to be the enemy. As a matter of fact, if I educate people and enough people get fired up about it and say, hey, we got to do something, then I believe we can merge technology of remediating EMFs with the companies that are putting up the 5G towers. And I think we can fix the towers as they put them up so that people can all be not affected, hopefully, at all. Maybe even be healthier. I actually think that if we fixed all the towers as they went up, that people would be better off than they are today if they're not remediated, okay, let's just say. Anyway, FYI, whatever your methods are, increase them a little bit, and I believe that you're going to be just fine on 5G. We do have 8 different tests that back this up. We're working on 9 and 10 right now. I'm going to go super like 30-second video here. So this is one example of a person, and we've done this with lots of people in different situations, but this example of what a red blood cells look like under a microscope of somebody who just came off the street, kind of used their cell phone recently, and they didn't look too great. Now, the same person took our cell phone chip product. They did a 3-minute phone call with their phone. So they're on the phone, being exposed to cell phone radiation for 3 minutes. But with our chip on, the researcher who did this for us said, gosh, they're round, they're spaced apart. They look better. They've improved by being on a cell phone. Wow. By the way, this guy got our products. So this is after a 3-minute call with our chip. So this is just one test that makes me believe, geez, you know, the evidence is showing our products work. The same person did a 3-minute phone call, basically continued on the phone call for 3 more minutes. We took the chip off. So they were on a normal cell phone that's unprotected, in my opinion. And this is what happened to the red blood cells. And that's not what you want. That's stuck together, and I can explain why that's not good. And then 3-minute phone call with the chip again, and they start to go back again. I believe I've seen the cells go completely back to quote unquote normal looking after usually 10 to 15 minutes in a remediated environment. So whatever's being done seems like it can get back quick, you know? And then the last thing I think I'm ending with is this. This is a thermal image test. So if EMFs are causing the shaking and vibrating, and that's kind of leading to the voltage-gated calcium channels, which is leading to the free radical damage and DNA damage, which is leading to all the symptoms and all the problems and so forth, then a product that shows it can remediate, ease up that subatomic chaos, some of the shaking and vibrating that causes our reaction would be good. And so this is a total thermal imaging. It's a place that we went because I don't have any of the equipment to do all these tests we do on our products. So this is when we took a handful of people and we had them for a day, and they talked on the cell phone for 10 minutes with and without our product. And you know, I guess I'll let the person who runs the clinic there speak for what happened.
We did our little experiment today where we were talking on a cell phone for 10 minutes with the cell phone chip and without the cell phone chip.
Hopefully you guys can hear this.
It is with the cell phone chip after 10 minutes.
After 10 minutes. And red white is what the hottest temperature in thermography is. So that's what we're looking to see if the heat increased at all while she was on the phone, and it did not. It kept her protected.
So she said there was no change in heat signature, 10-minute phone call.
Person,
Here we go.
on a phone call, but not having any infection in her cell phone chip, the EMF cell chip on her phone, and you're just saying that obviously there's a ton of red and white.
And red and white is the hottest temperature in thermography, so that's what we're looking for. We're making sure that stays protected, and she was not protected in this picture. As you can tell, the heat increased tremendously. She didn't have that chip on.
So you said it was pretty significant. Okay.
So anyway, I will kind of wrap it up there, and hopefully, if I'll stick around if anybody wants to have questions. But if you have product questions at all about solutions, of course you can contact your rep. If you are a rep, great, thank you. Call our phone number here or go to our website.